At first I will. I may put a color on it afterwards, after it's dry, but at first I want to leave white. I always like to leave white because then I can always go back and cover it up later. Okay, so here's what I would do. I don't wet the face, I just go right in with my skin tone. Quickly fill her in like a coloring book. You can go beyond the hair a little bit if you want. Well, I'm not worried about staying within the lines too much. It's not like you have to, like a coloring book where you have to stay in the lines. You can go outside the lines a little bit here and there. I'm working fast because I want it to stay wet so that when I go back throw color in, it'll look good. So, okay. Now I'm going to go back in. My brush is not super wet, but wet enough where I'm just laying in where I see pinks. And then I see lavender.
So your water is more in the colour. The palette. You take the water and
Yeah.
it.
It might even be too strong. Gotta be careful. It will dry lighter, so I'm not going to go back and correct. I'm just going to let it go and hope for the best. Because I know that correcting spoils it, so I've got to be really careful not to be so persnickety about everything. What about her neck?
You're not going to get that arm color?
Good about the neck.
I do too, always.
Yeah.
Do you?
Then I'm going to try to remix the paint.
Put her eyes in while I have the blue.
Yeah.
And her lips. I'm going to go with it really. Ah. Come on. Okay. Not going to worry so much about the teeth. The thing about the lips is they're not so defined. There's just sort of this pink area. Okay. What about the neck, right? So it's still not, it's still pretty wet. So move on to the neck. Leave the face alone. Didn't do exactly what I wanted to do, but it's good enough. Leave some shadows in the basic vicinity that you're seeing. And if you don't want a really sharp edge, you can just touch the edge there a little bit. Be careful though, because you could get blossoms and run back, which I might get. But I like that.
Does that take points off, blossoms?
I love blossoms. I know that people don't like them, but I just think they're cool. So, and when you look far away, it doesn't really show up anyway. So, I know that her mouth is like one big bleed there, but once you go back and put the mouth in again, it's not going to be that big of a deal.
She has chapped lips.
Yeah, she's very chapped. But see, you can look at it and judge it now and then spoil it by going back in and... Oh, that? There it is right there, too. Somebody snorted? Who snorted?
Or you can look over there, lady.
She wants to see this one.
So you want to keep the same flow of colors. There is no arm to go by, but you kind of have to wing it so that it flows. This one too. I'll get that one in there. There's a little blue on that too. And it will dry considerably lighter. So don't have to worry about it being so dark at this point.
That's always the hardest part, I think.
I know, because you look at
It's like, oh man, too much.
Okay.
She looks bruised.
Yeah, she does now. But after,
I understand
she
it
won't.
because I'm the 8th bruise survivor.
You just have to trust that it's going to be okay as you continue to work in the hair, and then you bring in the features.
hair done.
The skin will just disappear. You could use your raw. Cheat a little bit. As long as it's in the same vicinity of color, you should be all right. And what I like to do is I like to make my brush kind of go in the direction that the hair is going in. And the brush work would be not let the brush be too finicky and weird with it. As you get up close to the face, you're going to get a little bit darker. A little dry brush gives the texture, the direction the hair grows. I'm using the same 3 colors, just more intensity, more yellow. The more yellow you use, the better the hair color in the mixture. See how you can get dark.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, if I had it be too wet, it's going to bleed into her skin and her chin, and then we'll lose her. So you have to be careful when you do the hair right away, not to let it go out of control.
So how was Thanksgiving dinner?
It was really good. Got really well. Haven't I seen you since Thanksgiving?
No.
That was just last
How did everybody else do on Thanksgiving? Everybody had a nice Thanksgiving?
Did all 16 show that you had?
Yes, then some. Some
Yeah.
surprise guests.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
Unfortunately, it wasn't a sit down, so. There's a lot of pink. Look at all that pink. All that pink in her hair.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even see that. So while it's wet, you can throw in some of the other colors just so that it marries and it doesn't look so foreign from like she put a wig on. And so this will be the first pass with the hair. You could. I'm getting further and further away though from detail. I don't really like to do a lot of detail. So I like to be able to have it read without all that. Is this helping you at all watching?
Mm-hmm.
My neck's killing me. On the watch.
Your neck?
I'm leaning over, rest away from the.
Oh.
Come back here.
Get on
It's
the
very
rest.
good. Yeah, really good. Yeah, you definitely have to watch it.
You can see it from over the mirror. It's backwards, but
Isn't that nice right there?
a little pink in the strap. So it's not completely. And because you're using the same 3 colors that you're adding the yellow, it kind of works because it's not this foreign color that you. And I'm picking out the highlights. See?
What highlights?
The shadows and highlights of the blouse. See? Not much detail there. This one's really lit up, so I'll pull that one out. So that was, and then I get it all kind of filled in. You could even do like some background. Don't forget your background. A little purple there. See how I'm using the same 3 colors?
3?
It seems to fit. You're not like, oh, that background doesn't go, it doesn't work. What color am I going to use? Kind of just imitate what you see over there. Some yellow, greenish. A little more pink. Look at all the colors are there. Look at that.
Amazing.
Is it?
You didn't wet the background, right?
No, just take it a piece at a time. You don't have to if you take it a piece at a time. You work, it's almost like filling it in with a pencil. Down here. gray. So I don't erase it, I just go over it with some blue. Some darker lines. Just some variation to show that there's something going on back there. I don't really care what it is. It's just different than. So then you fill it all in, and then, oop, I got a big blossom on her neck. Probably dropped a drop there.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. So then that's when you fill it all in, then you wait, and then you go back and you start getting the features and some of the darks, but be very careful because it's almost finished, and just a little bit is going to bring it to life. Okay?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Really darks. But the thing about going really dark here is I don't want to take away from the face, and I don't want it to look like she has a wig stuck on her head. So you have to, not go super dark. You use the same 3 colors. And when you're doing golden hair, the secret is to have more golden than red and blue. So you can even take your purple and mix that in with the yellow and you get the same color. Kind of an easy trick. But you got to be careful that it stays cohesive with the other colors. It does not too foreign. So I'll look for like dark areas. Like it's helpful when you look at the black and white, and sometimes even if you turn it upside down, because you can get lost in the hair. There's so much going on that it's like confusing. And if you look at the photograph upside down and you squint, you can see like there's this dark patch here, like a little shape. I just look for shapes. There's a dark patch right there. And then I see like a strand all by itself, maybe another little one. And over here, it's kind of dark down here. I guess because it's in the shadows. So, and it also gets darkest as it comes closer to the face, which is kind of nice because it frames the face. I see a dark right in there. I see a dark there. And you can pick out a strand or two, just to give it the idea. And then this part of the hair, it's dark right here in sort of that shape. I see like a little triangle there. Just forget that it's hair, basically, and look for the darks and the lights. Okay, now I'm just going to start with that and leave it for that for now. Because if you go too far with it, you're going to get it photoreal and it's going to be way beyond what you want to do. So you just take it a little at a time. Then I go to the blue eyes. Are they blue? They're kind of green. But I'm going to stay with blue. I can always add yellow later to green them up. So I'm just going to fill in. My brush is so big. And I'm going to leave a little white highlight. And where do we leave the white highlight? Off center, not right in the middle. So I'm leaving it off to the right, covering up everything except for the highlight, right? Oops, that one's a little down, but I don't know. And then I take that blue. When I'm doing blue eyes, I like to extend it into the eyelashes, and because it just makes the eyes look bluer. If you just leave it to the iris, they tend to get lost and don't look blue anymore. And I'm just going to bring this isn't completely white here, so I'm going to let it. And she needs a very faint eyebrows, very faint. If you paint them too dark, she's going to look like Joan Crawford. And she needs some though, so very pale, very little water. Lots of water, very little pigment. That's already too dark, see? And I hardly put anything down, so you can suck them back up. Might even be a little too brown. Let's try puring them up a little bit. Yeah, with that eyebrow, she kind of looked like an alien, so you gotta be careful. A little more yellow. And you can bring that all the way down, maybe like where after it's dry, you can start to fill in some of the shadows. Very lightly though, don't go crazy. That gives her some eye sockets. You gotta be really careful because you can overwork this so quickly. And then I move on down to the lips. Keeping them rosy. I don't want to put any purple in the lips. I want to keep them nice and pure. Very rarely ever put anything other than pink and yellow in the lips. Just going to go around those teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Nostril. Be really careful with this because this could make her look really old. Okay, chin. Gotta be. I know she has those funny little wrinkles under her chin, but it's not going to help you to put them in there. It's not going to make your painting better. So this is where I made my mistake, and let's see if I can cover it up. Not worried about covering it up until it's dry. Trying to get just the right color. I put it in, and if it's not right, I just keep mixing until I get it right. Okay, so I'm trying to cover this part up. Quite a bit darker than the shirt, but not so much darker than her face. I don't want it to, it is darker, but I don't want it to be that dark. Careful to keep it close to the face tone. Smooth it out a bit, and then you got to go to the arms and do the same thing. We'll just leave light on one side, and this one can be in shadow. And then if you want, you can go back and brighten up her shirt. I don't know that you want to do that though. Let's see. Do we want to do that? No? Do we not? Are you sure?
Sure.
Just a little.
Sure.
You sure, Jean? Does it look bad from over there?
Well, you got this, no, the skin tones are strong, it's kind of nice and
A pale shirt?
because your face is pale.
See, I can't see that from where I am right now. So let's take that back out. Sometimes you can. Yeah. Yeah. See? Okay, is that better?
Yep.
Okay. So it is a little brighter, but not quite so. Put some in here. I lost my shirt. I'll just go over it with yellow just to bring it back a little bit. Okay, and then I would, at this point, I haven't finished. I just would be very careful not to take it much further. I'm going to do a pupil. So I'm going to go in and get like a really dark. It's just easier that way. I'll do my old standby burnt sienna and ultramarine blue for the pupil. Get nice and black without using black. And keeping it blue on the blue side. Come on. See how I have to scrub in there to get it dark enough? And look how dry the paint is so that when I put it in, it stays. If it's still wet in there. And I switch to a.
Use a different brush.
I know. When I get this tiny though. So you have to be careful not to give her all her eyelashes either. The thing about her is that she doesn't have a lot of definition in her eyes. Oh, and then in the mouth corners, you have to just stay red. Stay in the flesh tone color, but you can go with more pigment, less water, to get those corners. I always like to do the darkest part of the mouth be the part where it indents, like right there. And if you stay red instead of like black, it'll just give it what it needs. So she looks like she's smiling. Did I paint teeth?
No.
No.
No, you don't need to.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
It
Okay,
is.
corner.
Looks like teeth.
Yeah, how'd that happen?
Your drawing has the shape around the teeth.
So I would stop here,
That's really nice, yeah.
go back
She's
and look.
pretty.
See how the focus is right there and not on the hair, not on the background, not on the shirt. I probably still have a little bit more to do, but it's coming. I have to look at it from
Very
a
good.
distance.